Welcome to this explainer. Whenever we think about wealth, our minds almost automatically jump straight to the math, right? We're talking spreadsheets, compound interest, stock portfolios, and those super complex financial formulas. But what if that default way of thinking is just entirely wrong? What if wealth is actually a psychological outcome long before it ever becomes a numerical one? Today, we're exploring exactly how our internal cognitive frameworks dictate our external financial realities. Because this isn't just about what people do with their money, it's really about how they perceive the very concept of it from the ground up. Okay, let's dive right into this. The central question we're unpacking today is, why do rich people think differently? And to be clear, this isn't just about wealthy folks having different passing thoughts throughout the day. The text suggests this cognitive difference is the literal, exact mechanism of their wealth. It really begs us to look way beyond the surface level of, say, bank account balances, and instead dig into the cognitive machinery operating beneath it all. Think about it. If the thinking is fundamentally different, then the entire approach to risk, opportunity, time, and value changes completely. To truly wrap our heads around this, we need to define our terms pretty precisely. Psychology is defined as the mental characteristics or attitude of a person or group. Notice how deeply internal that is? The source text roots financial divergence entirely in these internal mental states. Which means, guys, we aren't studying economics today. We're studying human behavior. We're looking at attitudes. We're examining how deeply held beliefs, fears, and desires shape literally every single financial decision you make, long before a dollar is ever spent or invested. Section 1. Thinking differently. The core divergence. And this comparison brilliantly illustrates the primary contrast the author is making. We're looking at rich people on one side versus everyone else on the other. Now, the source groups individuals into these two categories based not initially on their net worth, but on their cognitive approach. It heavily implies that there's a standard, default way of thinking about money, which belongs to everyone else, and then there's this highly specialized, completely different alternative that belongs exclusively to the wealthy. Section 2. The wealthy mindset. The internal foundation. So, what exactly is a mindset anyway? Well, it's an established set of attitudes dictating how someone perceives and reacts to the world around them. Actually, think of it kind of like the operating system running quietly in the background of your brain. If you perceive money purely as a tool for immediate status, like, buying a luxury car you can't quite afford, well, your output is gonna be flawed. But the wealthy mindset? It is meticulously calibrated toward generating and retaining wealth. Before you buy a house, start a business, or even aggressively save a portion of a paycheck, this internal attitude has to be firmly established first. Here is the complete blueprint laid out for us. It starts with 1, the psychology of money, which ultimately requires 2, thinking differently. That leads right into 3, cultivating a specific mindset, which inevitably forms 4 new habits. And the ultimate result? 5, achieving separation. These aren't just isolated concepts either. They're sequential building blocks. You simply cannot achieve separation without the habits. And you absolutely cannot build those disciplined habits without having the mindset in place first. It's a chain reaction. Section 3. Habits of the rich. The external action. So, the absolutely crucial point here is this formula. Mindset plus habits equals separation. This is exactly where the abstract becomes incredibly concrete. Mindset alone, it's really just thought. It's potential energy. But when you add habits into the mix, meaning disciplined, repeated, external actions taken day after day, like resisting lifestyle creep so you can invest consistently, that potential energy becomes kinetic. Internal thought, combined with external action, is the exact alchemy that creates wealth. Having one without the other is entirely insufficient. Let's actually walk through this logical progression step by step. Step 1 starts with an internal perception shift, literally changing how you view money. That in turn shifts step 2, your physical vehicle, which is your daily habits. Those habits become the daily tangible proof that your mindset has actually changed. And step 3, the unavoidable consequence of those 2 shifts is diverging from the crowd. If your internal mindset breaks from the norm and your daily habits break from the norm, your financial reality has absolutely no choice but to separate as well. Section 4, the great separation, the ultimate outcome. Now, what's really interesting to consider is this quote right here from the source. Discover the mindset and habits that separate wealthy people from everyone else. I want you to really notice that word, separate. It doesn't just say makes them richer or gives them more things. No, it implies a complete parting of ways, a hard divergence in paths. The mindset and habits act like a wedge, constantly driving a gap between those who apply them and the rest of the pack who are just kind of drifting along on the default trajectory. Let's see how this builds into the ultimate contrast: active construction versus passive drift. The intentional application of the wealthy mindset and habits sits firmly on one side. On the other, the default path of everyone else. Just remaining with the crowd requires zero effort, right? It's exactly what happens when you do absolutely nothing to consciously intervene. In this framework, wealth isn't just an accident of birth or pure luck. It is the direct, intentional result of actively rejecting that default path. So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want to turn the whole premise right back over to you. If a specific mindset and daily habits are what actually cause the separation, what is currently keeping you on the default path? Are your daily actions matching a wealthy internal mindset, or are they perfectly aligned with the crowd? Take a hard, honest look at your own operating system. What mindsets and habits are currently separating you from wealth? I'm going to leave you with that thought. Let it linger and really reflect on what it takes to finally step off that